Hello. Hey, folks. Welcome back to Adobe Live. I'm here today with Anna Daviscourt. Anna, how are you doing today?
I'm here with Anika. Haha, how exciting.
Anna and Anika.
Apparently we have a ship name, so says Jessica. Oh, I love it.
How are you, Anna, today?
I'm really good. I'm having a great morning so far, and I'm wearing my new sweater that Anthony gave me over the weekend. So I'm very excited. I feel ready.
Shout out to Anthony. Hey, Anthony, if you're watching. But hey, hi, everyone. Welcome to Adobe Live. My name is Anika. I will be your host today. I'm hosting a children's book illustrator and Adobe Creative Resident alumni, Anna Daviscourt, today. I'm really honored to be hosting Anna. But before we dive into painting in Adobe Fresco with her, I want to say check out the Creative Cloud Express streams that happen every Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday mornings. This week, Julia Walker will show how to create logos and banners in the Creative Cloud Express app. It's a very easy to use app, so make sure to tune into those. And I don't know if you guys were watching, but right before us, we had Wade Acuff doing the Photoshop Creative Challenges. They happen every weekday at 9 a.m. Pacific. I'm really excited for those. This is a very special week with Wade hosting all of the challenges. And today we were making custom icons. So if you missed that, you can also watch the replays on both YouTube and Behance. So make sure to do that. But without further ado, I want to say, Anna, do you maybe want to introduce yourself, give us a glimpse of your work, and get started into what we have for today?
Absolutely. Shout out to Wade. Whoop, whoop, Club Wade. Hi, I'm Anna Daviscourt. As you said, I am a children's book illustrator and Adobe Creative Residency alumni. That is a mouthful. Whoa. And I am also just doing basically whatever comes my way. I really enjoy streaming. That is a huge part of what I enjoy lately. You can see some of my work on my website. It's just annadaviscourt.com. And a lot of my work is very fun, colorful, animal, nature oriented. I love drawing kids, which we will be doing today. Have fun. One thing that I've always wanted to explore was taking illustrations that are still and then moving elements of them. And now with Fresco's animation abilities, I am very excited to jump into that and just bring a bunch of illustrations to life. I think in some of my streams, I will be doing certain challenges like, hey, take an old illustration and animate part of it. One of them that could work really well with this is like this little cat witch one where you just like move the cats a little bit or like have little bursts of stars coming out of the cauldron or something like that. So it's really approachable from a new animator's perspective. I am not an animator. I love animation, but I am not going to say I'm good at it or anything like that. So doing small bits, I think, is kind of the goal. And we're going to do some of that on the stream today. Woo!
Ooh. I'm really excited, and I also want to say hi to everyone in the chat. I was so excited, I forgot to say hi to you guys.
Hi, guys.
But yeah. Hi, Jessica. Hi, Wade. Hi, Jack is in the chat. Odori is in the chat. Sam is also in the chat. Hey, hello. Welcome, everyone.
Hey, everybody. It's so good to see you. Thanks for coming.
Yeah. I'm really excited. Let's jump into Fresco and see what we have.
Absolutely. So today I have this sketch that I worked on over the weekend, and it's basically, okay, I'm going to actually show you a bit of the sketches that came before. So we've got some ideas here of like water, nature, and just chilling. I kind of wanted to chilling. I wanted to kind of hit on a note of, I don't know, like romanticizing normal life in a way. I was thinking about this earlier. Like those are some of my favorite scenes to do, is just taking some kind of aspect of your everyday life and just having something that, you know, you experience a lot of, but making it special. And I thought one of my favorite things about the place that I live in right now is that we have a creek next to us, and we have a lot of access to wildlife and nature. Right now we have a beaver that's been making a dam, and so there's like lakes and ponds being made, which is really cool to watch because it brings just a whole bunch of wildlife to the area, tons of new waterfowl and things like that. So I was kind of on this idea of either a goose or a duck or something being near this water, which totally plays into what Cody Bear is doing later today, which is the April showers prompts, right? Is that what it is?
Yeah, that's the prompt. And today's is ducks in a puddle. So yeah, it really ties in together with all of it.
Exactly. I love that so much. So the plan is to paint a piece today, and then tomorrow we're going to animate the bits of it in Fresco. So this all happens in one program. And so yeah, I'm just going to kind of jump into the painting. I have these multiple sketches. I really love this one, but I also fell in love with the idea of this one because the concept of this is that you're seeing like this top-down view of a person on a little bridge, and then we've got this grassy like wild nature area, and then the creek flows through it, and the creek is going to be reflecting the sky. And I thought of some really cool things to like kind of work into this for tomorrow's animation. I want them to be looking up at the sky at something passing overhead, so you can like ideate on what that kind of, maybe a shadow goes over it or something. I was thinking maybe a dragon.
Ooh, yes. Well, a dragon.
You gotta have magic, Anika. Like that's necessary. So
I feel it now.
Yeah, you feel it. You got it. You gotta get used to the ideas, you know, what world we're living in. And so, yeah, I kind of want to just start blocking it out. I roughed in some of these color palettes just to give us an idea of some of what the greenery is going to look like with everything that's like green. I don't know if you noticed with a lot of my pieces, I like to do a ton of green, but then not all of it is just straight up green. It's got like golds and oranges and reds in there. So that's my favorite approach.
I do love that. I really love how you approach foliage, to be honest. And it kind of brings everything together. But if you guys haven't seen this and don't know what I'm talking about, go check out Anna's website. And if you're watching this on YouTube, hop on over to Behance. We are at be.net/Adobe Live. This is where I'm reading this right, and you can ask Anna any questions while she is working on the sketch and color blocking.
Absolutely. And I have many things that like I could talk forever, just to let you know. So feel free to interrupt, but also if you have any questions, that becomes the most important thing. I always want to answer questions. So please bring them.
Absolutely. Rin is also here. Hey
what's Rin! Up? What's up? How are you? Having a good day so far? Rin's one of my good friends from the stream, also a mod, also an amazing creator.
And Kendall's also here. Hey Kendall, what's up?
Oh, make it twice. Kendall is exactly the same. Just like an awesome mod, awesome friend, awesome creator. Oh, I love it.
I love the animation Kendall did for your birthday. Also, belated happy birthday to Anna. It was Anna's birthday last week.
It was. That's where the sweater came from. That's why Anthony gave it to me. It was my birthday celebration over the weekend. We went on a massive hike with my family. It was awesome.
Nice. Yeah, I saw you streamed on your Behance as well, which was a very fun stream.
Yes, on Thursday. Oh my gosh. Yes, that was so fun. I love doing birthday or like any kind of themed stream. I don't know. There's something about it that's special. Anika, you also stream. How do you feel about special occasion streams?
I have mixed feelings about special occasion streams. I love them, but I also think that should I be streaming?
But then just be enjoying the day.
But then I stream anyway. So what does that say about me?
Very hard worker, maybe too hard.
But yeah, go ahead. No, you were saying.
Sorry, I was just gonna say that I'm filling in the big spots of this illustration. So I want the water and the grass area, you know, land and sea to be separate, basically. And I'm gonna check this with values. One of my favorite methods of getting the values of my piece very quickly is to fill whatever you call this, a screen with black, and then we filled all the pixels. We're done. Yay! Good job, everybody. Go home. Now we set it to color, and then it shows you the black and white version, and then you can just flip it on and off, and you never have to do it again. Now we've got this lighter area within the darker area, which is exactly what I wanted, because then we can have the dark silhouette on top of the light, and we can have this really strong contrast at our focal point. That's the goal, at least.
Yeah. Do you think using watercolors and like brushes in Fresco is like very comparable? Have you used the live brushes in Fresco?
Oh, yeah, all the time. Whoops. Yeah, I love the watercolor brushes so much. If you haven't used them, they sink into the paper, basically, the paper of the
Yeah.
screen. And it's so satisfying to watch. I remember I actually got first access to Fresco back when it was known as Gemini, very secret. Ooh. And I was the Adobe Creative Resident that year for one of the illustration ones. And so I was hardcore into Fresco / Gemini. And so when I first saw the watercolor brushes, especially, I was like, this is going to change the game. Like, oh my gosh, they're so fun. And it's only gotten better and better through every iteration of the program. It keeps adding. And I've been just kind of gradually going more and more to the iPad for my daily, just if I feel like making free time artwork, I'm in Fresco. And I'm not even just saying that as like an Adobe fan. I'm saying like, it makes me feel like a kid again. And I love it so much. So the watercolor brushes are part of my heart. And I'll show you in a little bit the most common way that I use them.
Love that. Yeah, I also really like the light brushes. I think as a kid, I never used watercolors because I was always scared of like making a mess out of them.
Yeah.
But with them being in Fresco, you literally cannot do that. So
yeah, exactly. Like not an option. And you also don't have to like use paints. I always felt like I was precious with my materials where I'm like, oh, I can't use it. That's like getting rid of it or something. That mindset has changed and you should change yours if it's similar. But doing it digitally just gets rid of all that. You feel like, oh yeah, I can use this because that's what it's here for. And I'm not losing anything. So it's great.
Yeah.
Whatchamacallit. Okay, so I'm just blocking it in with a dark color. The person in, this kid. You know them. And then I'm going to add like a little bridge. And these are not at all the final colors that we'll probably have. It's just blocking it in makes it so much easier to adapt. This is one of my like art philosophies, is that I hate the blank canvas so much that I want to fill it in as quickly as possible and just kind of get something going so that I can change it. If it feels like it's off, then I can change it. But if it's blank, then I can change nothing. I'm just like, oh, endless possibilities. So just throwing something in there. I love
that.
Yeah.
That really kind of helps. Actually reminds me of like having an underpainting, but like James Gurney always does it. And has like an underpainting depending on the kind of light source I have. So maybe if it's like a cool light source, we have blues and purples going on. And if it's like a warm colors, it's like sunny yellows.
Exactly. Oh my gosh. Well, and also, have you seen James Gurney is a really great asset. If you guys don't know, he has a YouTube channel where he posts a million videos on how to paint with color, and it's free, it's gold, it's amazing. Go watch. He's also funny, and I'm like, how lucky are we?
I agree.
Yeah. My favorite is when there's a really beautiful, like overall they're going for a cool painting, but they have an underpainting of warm, and then it just pops so much. I love it. But I have a very big tendency to go warm. I love warm colors. So I don't know if I have to fight that or whatever. We're all in process. So we'll see where I am again in 5 years. But you mentioning that did make me remember, like usually with my paintings, I put down a gold layer first. I love gold. So I usually do that as a base and then color on top of it. This is funny. I used a gigantic brush, so this all filled in, but I don't mind that because it's underneath the green anyway. But then there are these little spots when you fill things in with a brush, it doesn't usually get every little bit. And that's why I like using the brush rather than the fill bucket for like painting the things themselves. Sometimes the fill bucket is fun, but it's really the most fun to me when I get to touch every aspect of a painting and feel like it's handmade. So that's kind of the goal, I guess, for the most part. Okay, I'm gonna add some variety to this greenery, and then we're gonna go for the live brushes a little bit.
Ooh, live brush action.
Ooh,
soon.
Also, I haven't called out the different brushes that I've been using so far, but it's been the rake grit brush and the graphite brush. These are built into the program. They're made by Kyle Webster. They're amazing. The rake grit I use mostly for like chunking in a bunch of color really quickly because it's completely opaque. It has a texture to it, but it's like a fast fill in. And then the graphite brush is a very blended one. So like you can get that transition in the color of the water where it's like a darker blue to lighter blue. You can kind of gradiate it with your brush strokes. And now I'm going to go to the Rake Gaps brush, which I've been using a lot on my latest book, actually. It's kind of crazy how like I leaned into this one texture and I've been using it a lot. Sometimes you just find a favorite brush. But it just adds like a really, I don't know what you'd call that, gappy textural kind of brush. And I love it for especially gappy textural, you know, words. So yeah, the idea here being that we're doing like an underpainting of texture so that if there are gaps between the plants, we also have something juicy to lock onto. So it never feels like it's just flat color or that it's kind of lacking that really textural like look that I've come to love.
That is so interesting because whenever I make any illustrations, I don't ever like fill in with texture first. Mm-hmm. I just do like big chunky colors first and then add on texture. And I kind of feel like they're not very intertwined, but now this actually makes sense. So yeah.
I think maybe pro tip, it's to each their own. This is definitely a style, I guess, that has been hobbled together from just studying a ton of stuff that I love. So it's all up to what you like the look of. Sometimes I'm like, oh man, I love really clean illustration where it doesn't have a ton of marks and it just looks like kind of minimal because of it. And then other times I'm like maximalist and I want all the juicy marks and stuff like that.
Juicy marks.
Juicy.
Gappy textures and juicy marks. You heard it here, guys.
Band name called it. But the big difference to me is you can love looking at all types of art. It definitely doesn't always translate to what you love to make. So for me, I love making things that are very textural. If I were to just do minimal artwork, I think I would feel a little suffocated by it. So it definitely comes down to what you want to actually put down and what feels good for your hand to make rather than just what you like to look at, because I like to look at everything. So many art forms are just like amazing. So I can't make everything, unfortunately. But I can narrow down what I enjoy actually putting down. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that does make sense. I actually struggle between working in Illustrator and Fresco for the very reason, because I feel like when I work in Illustrator, it's hard to get that organic look that you can get with like a stylus or like Apple Pencil. But when I don't have like a Cintiq or a graphics tablet with my Illustrator, so I just use a mouse for it. I do love making illustrations and I add textures on those as well. But there's something just about using Fresco and like a pencil like situation that kind of, I don't know, it kind of makes a difference.
I love it. Yeah, but it's whatever lights up your brain. So if you feel it, go for it.
And we have a lot of folks joining in the chat. So if you guys have any questions, let us know. Yeah.
Hey, everybody. I just wanted to shout out real quick that, what was I thinking? Something. Oh, this is kind of like abstract painting in a way. I'm just kind of zhuzhing around colors in different places. But the idea behind it is just keeping an overall balance. So that's just something I wanted to shout out, because sometimes it looks like I'm doing nonsense, which sometimes I am. But then other times it's like, I can describe a little bit about what I'm thinking here.
Yeah, I love that you put on like these orange hues.
Yeah, doesn't it make the greens pop so much more? Oh,
yeah,
I love them.
It does kind of look very spring.
Definitely, yes. Oh, that's another great keyword for this that I wanted to feel like abundant life. It's coming forth. I'm going to put a new layer on top and go to the soft light blend mode. That's what they're called, right?
Yep.
You know better than I.
Blend modes. I love. Do you ever use the adjustment layers in Fresco as well? I noticed that you use the color layer with like to check the values. Can you do that with adjustment layers as well?
Oh, probably. Yeah. There are 5 billion ways. Oh, at least in Photoshop, there are usually a lot of ways to get to a black and white version of your piece. In Fresco, I believe, yeah, you could probably just throw a hue saturation layer on top of it like this. So this is our adjustment layers down in the bottom right. And you can go hue saturation and just, oh, wait, not those. That's lightness. Whoops. There we go, saturation down. But you'll notice that probably, let's see. Oh, I need to drag it out probably. Whoop. Beep, boop. Sorry, beep popping. You know how it goes.
Got so, sound effects.
So this is the hue saturation black and white, and then here's the color version black and white. So you can kind of see there's a difference there in the values. This one I think gives a lot more contrast, and this one's much more grayed out. So it really depends on what you think is the truest. I remember hearing once upon a time that the color layer was the truest, but who knows, especially in this new program, that was like a Photoshop thing. So it's up to you. But I love being able to see the black and white version. That's all I care about. So as long as I can get there, that's all I want.
Absolutely. Yeah. I feel like making values first also really helps guide the eye when you're adding color.
Definitely.
So like switching back and forth really helps as well.
Absolutely. I agree. I'm going to go to the watercolor Wash Soft, which is a big one, and it blends really easily. And I'm on a layer that has the blend mode of soft light. So this kind of gives a wash of light color over everything. And so what I like to do is just use a bunch of colors in here. You might not be able to see it as clearly when it's happening, but then I'll turn it on and off and you can really see the difference. And this just adds see, it's like,
I see that. Yeah.
It just adds another layer of those differing colors. And sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Again, this is kind of like an abstract painting exercise to figure out what we like and what we don't like. But that's the kind of beauty of it, is you can just erase out the soft light layer if you want it to not hit a certain part, or you could put a mask over it and always keep it safe. It's a non-destructive way. And then sometimes with the watercolor brushes, again, the beauty of them is that they really are alive, and they they blend together in these ways that makes it's a really nice mix in my mind of hard and soft edges, because sometimes when you're using Photoshop, you can use like a big puffy brush, you know, the like airbrush ones that are very soft edge, and it would blend together and it would look seamless, and that's cool. But then I want something that feels blended but doesn't look so clean. You know what I mean? Where it's like it has a firm edge in between, not it's like completely soft.
Yeah, it's like one side is a brush is a hard edge, but the other is a soft edge.
Yeah, exactly.
That kind of a feeling. Yeah. I love that. And you can also add water to these paints. Is that it?
Exactly. Yeah. There's water flow is one of the controllable things. And there's also the flow of this changes. So you can kind of add, I think this is kind of like opacity of the color. I had it explained to me a million years ago, so I'm not quite sure exactly what everything is, but you know, talk to Kyle. And yeah, there's so many different things that you can kind of control about this, but honestly, I love them out of the box personally. But there is definitely in these programs, any program that you paint or draw in, there's a level of personalization that you can bring to it. And there's also a level of like learning to just adapt to the program. So it's up to you again. Just gonna say that a million times. It's up to you.
It's up to you. Yeah. Wade has a very fun question. Do you ever flip your image just to get like a new perspective on what you're doing?
Absolutely. Yeah. I probably don't do as much as I should, but I definitely, I think it's a wonderful tactic.
Oh yeah.
And
save, flip, stretch.
Exactly. Right? Yes. The age-old adage. Yeah. So Wade, do you want to see it flipped? Is that what you're saying? In Fresco, it's so easy. I love it. It's just, you go up to the settings and then boop, there you go. So yeah, that does feel weird. Oh my gosh, it's always so weird whenever you flip it. But yeah, it feels a little tilted to the left now, but it's tilted to the right, which I know is exactly my thing. I always tilt to the right, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. It's just one of those, like, it's good to see, just to know, oh, this is what I do. Exactly.
Well, but now I think since you've been, how long have you been illustrating? Has
5
it been a
million
while?
years. No,
Oh.
I mean, illustrating as like a career or just like drawing in general?
As a career. And then we'll go back to drawing as well.
I guess
So
it's
both.
been my whole adult life. I went to art school straight out of high school. So I guess I was going for it. But then when I graduated art school, I got into video games. So I was doing like concept art for a lot of mobile games. And then after that was the Adobe Creative Residency. And then I was freelancing after that. So I don't know where technically it would count as illustrating.
All of it.
Yeah,
All
it's
of
like
all of it.
well, it's true. When I was working on video games, it wasn't like constant work all the time. It was kind of on contract. So as long as I got the work done, I was good. And so I would paint for like, you know, funsies all the time. And I was trying to build up my skill set, and especially going in the direction of being like a painterly artist. I was kind of going for like comic book covers or like studying JC Leyendecker or something like that. And I love that style of art, but I've definitely moved away from it just because I fell in love with the world of children's book illustration and the freedom that it allows to explore artistic mediums and storytelling, and how you can just be, I don't know, it's like a different type of creation. This is how it was described to me. So concept art is you're part of a pipeline, and your artwork that you're creating today is probably not going to be seen as like the final artwork. But when you're an illustrator, usually you're not part of a team. It's just a one-off, and what you're working on today is going to be the final thing that people see. So that's how it kind of was described to me and how I think of it, I guess, the difference there. So if you're talking just illustration, I'd say the beginning of the Adobe Creative Residency was when I really felt like I was creating the final artwork that people were going to see. And it wasn't a collaborative effort. It was just me.
Just you. I love that.
I'm going to throw in some clouds to make it read like it's sky. And this is the live brushes again. You can really see it like the sinking into the paper thing. Like, ooh,
yeah.
Anyways, what were you going to say?
Don't even tear the paper.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, so do you, I know you mentioned that when you're making children's book illustrations, there's always like a story and it always reads from the characters that you create. So is that something you think about when, I know you made like fruit animals. Is that something you think about when you're making those illustrations?
Those ones are much more about furthering my use of the medium, I'd say, rather than storytelling, which storytelling is a medium, basically. I mean, like there are different mediums for it, but I'm just saying that the goal for those pieces, I did like an orange cat, a strawberry dog, a cherry snake kind of piece where I paired these animals with these fruits, and it was much more abstract feeling. And that kind of led me to more of the style that I like to use for foliage that you're seeing right now, where it's not necessarily based off of reality as much as it is the essence of what I love about seeing reality. Like when I look at a bush, I see full of texture and color, and I just want to kind of recreate that in a way that's really fun for me to do. So it's not like I'm not held back by the feeling that, actually the light would hit the leaf here and bounce off this way, and this is what reality says it has to be. So that's kind of the thought process there for those pieces, is to push myself to abstract things a little bit more and feel comfortable in that world, because it's definitely not natural. At least for my brain, I'm not naturally thinking like, oh yes, the leaf could be a diamond, and the diamond could actually be red instead of green, and blah blah blah.
A red diamond? Yes.
My diamond. Yes.
Yeah, I love that. I understand what you're saying. It's basically not very realism focused, but also very abstract, while also exploring, like having a goal in mind of learning a new technique, or like training your brain to think that it's natural. It is natural for me.
Yeah. Do you feel like you have to push yourself to abstract things ever?
Absolutely. I always go for realism, especially since I'm so new to illustrating per se. I'm more into design than illustration. So I always do a lot of studies to learn new techniques. And then when I'm doing those, I always find myself going towards realism, and you know how your eyes can see that you're not really at that place, but you want to be, so you can see your mistakes.
Yes, of course.
Like, oh, so how do I get there? I gotta practice, but then what do I do in the meantime? And so that's like always a constant struggle for me. I'm like, okay, I'm stuck now. Maybe I'll just add more abstract stuff.
I'm stuck. Totally. No, I feel that very, very much. Just like, oh man, it's not turning out the way I want it to. And maybe it's pretty or like it looks good in its own right, but it's not what I wanted.
Yep.
And that's the frustrating part of especially doing a piece. What I love to do is give myself a challenge of I'm going to do a piece and it's going to be 90% my comfort zone and then 10% something new, so that I can feel like I'm always learning, but in a way that makes me feel like I have a grasp on what I'm doing. Because I think I definitely hit a point at which I felt like I have no idea what I'm doing. Should I be an artist? This is not like, I'm not good at it. And so you have to fight that feeling every single time and just be like, no, okay, maybe if I'm feeling that way, I need to draw something that I love and am comfortable doing. Like I'll just draw a mushroom, just like I just need to draw a mushroom right now. Because I feel like almost everybody could draw a mushroom in a way that's like satisfying to them. And it might not be exactly how you imagine it to be, but as long as you feel like you're competent at it, you'll have more confidence going into the next piece.
Yeah, absolutely. And I also feel like to add to your point that it's progress when you can actually see that it's not working out, because you know where you want to be, because you can see the mistakes that you're making.
Exactly.
And that's actually progress. So yeah, good job if you're doing this.
Yeah, exactly. If you feel like you're really bad at it, it means you're just really good at it. I totally feel that. I think there's like a technical hierarchy. What do they call that? There's like a chart that shows that kind of idea where your hand catches up to your eye and then your eye catches up to your hand, or other people's hands, I guess, where it's like your taste outlives your skill set. And then you kind of, so when you're feeling confident about your work, that's technically what this says as is like the worst point of your artwork. It's like, oh, if you like it, then you need to get better, or
you
like
need to reassess.
Like get better taste, I guess. Which is a funny way of saying it, but there are elegant ways of describing it that other people have done.
Absolutely. But that said, I also want to say, don't compare yourself to like other people's work. Instead of just compare yourself to like you 1 year ago. I do that all the time. And I use my old sketches or old work from the past year and like redo them just to see how far I've come. And it always helps me get better. And it's so funny because you do different kinds of things. You do value studies for, let's say, a month. Like, for instance, Wade, who's also in the chat, has these thematic studies. And I love participating in those because even though they're not directly related to what I do, I learn something from each one of them. And it's so surprising to me because I did not even expect to learn values from portrait studies. And now I am better at values just because of that.
Yes, absolutely. Oh, that's like why I love the excuse to go back to foundational things at all times, because it's not necessarily foundational in a way where it's like, oh, you should know this. It's foundational as in you're always going to be relearning this. It never goes away. You will always get better at values. You'll always get better at, whatever else stuff, at blanking brain. But other things. But that is so true that it's really important to put into perspective that like you can learn anywhere and any way, and you shouldn't cut yourself off from something just because you think like, oh, I don't need to be doing portraits or whatever right now. It's like, well, it can be really useful. And obviously with doing it along with Wade, then you have motivation, and motivation is really the scarcest commodity in art.
Absolutely. Yeah, so, Wade puts it in a very nice way. You reach a plateau, then you grow or learn and reach a new plateau. Then you grow and learn and reach a new plateau. Hopefully it goes on forever. And I don't know if I'm saying plateau correctly. So thank you, Wade.
I like it. No, I love the way you say it. I think I would say plateau, but now I'm going to say
plateau. Yes, there you go.
It's a weird word. Is that French? What do you think? Wade, tell us the history of plateau.
Wade must know it, yes.
Wade knows everything, so like, why not? And also, thank you, Wade, for doing those those prompts for people and also sharing your process through them. I think that's a wonderful way to learn. And
Absolutely.
if you want to be a part of that, Wade has a Discord. You should pop that in the chat just so everybody can join in and
Put it
see
in.
new challenges. Yeah. Club Wade. It's popping off.
Club Wade. Oh, I remember when that happened. That was a long time ago. Club Wade going strong.
Yeah.
Love that.
Keep going. It's Club Wade now. That's what, you know, being part of the OG Behance crew, like we all have inside jokes eventually. So that's one of the big reasons that everybody here has to tune into every stream that ever happens on Behance.
Absolutely. Only on be.net/Adobe Live.
Boom.
This is where we're at. This is how you do it.
A reminder, if you're on YouTube, come on over to Behance. Whoop, whoop.
Hop on over.
Oh, yeah. Let's check it out. Okay, one thing I also remembered that I forgot is I didn't show the before and after of the what is this? The soft light layer. Yeah. So I'm gonna turn it off. See that? And turn it on. Whoa.
Ooh.
Ooh. Ah.
I love that. It adds a kind of natural light that you would see.
Yeah, and it's
sorry,
go on.
While not having like the textures, but also still having the color. You know,
absolutely. Yeah. I love color. And I am very excited because I know that whatever shadow we choose to do for tomorrow's animation, I want to make it really cool. So that going over the warms is going to feel really nice. It's going to be this like contrast. And we could also pop that in here just as a reminder of what we want in the future. So the way I'm going to do that is definitely probably light blue. That's what I'm going to guess right now. Of course, we can change it. I'm going to go in with a graphite brush to give it a little bit of softness. I'll make it multiply. I'm going to do low opacity. And then we could have, let's do a bigger brush. Some kind of shadow going across here. So imagine this moving across. I think we need a little more opacity. There we go. Whoop. So moving across the screen and having like some kind of motion to it as it moves, and then it feels like some magical thing is happening up in the sky and the kid's looking up at it like, whoa,
magic.
It's magic, you know.
I love that. Do you always plan out how you're gonna layer your layers? See what I did when you're making when you're animating stuff. Like, did you always think about, hey, I'm gonna put this on a different layer just because I want to animate it, or do you just do it on the fly?
With animation, it has to be on a separate layer, so I do think about that. But then I'm not the best at it with painting. Like my layers are never organized. It never feels like I have a really like concise thing unless I'm working on a client project. If it needs to be layered, then that's usually where it happens. But for my personal paintings, usually there's a point at which I just collapse everything together and say, all right, it's done. But the process of animation demands layers, right? You can't just like paint every frame to change, like that would be insane. So with the Fresco tools, the cool thing is that each animation that you create, like if I want this shadow to be separate from, say, some movement of the water that we'll animate tomorrow, then I want it to be on its own layer. And that's exactly how it organizes within Fresco. So you can have one animation on one layer, another animation on another layer. And within those layers, there are individual frames of the animation. And it's so cool. Nice. It's so cool. I can't wait to show you guys. I can't wait. It's good. It's good.
Oh, we have a question here from Becca about concept art and game art they were talking about. What kind of art did you have in your portfolio to get concept art or mobile game art jobs, Anna?
That was mostly based off of, well, it was actually from my graduating class. So the biggest thing that I have to say about how I got hired is having a recommendation from somebody who worked there was a huge aspect of it. The company that I worked at had actually hired several people who had graduated from the same school that I did. So I knew them. They were my classmates. So that's one huge asterisk on my answer, is like knowing people is probably going to make the biggest difference. But the part of my portfolio that had work that showed I could do what they needed me to do, it was painting something volumetric. So like a character, a prop, something in color. So having just that, like even one painting that shows that you can paint something volumetrically, as in like you understand the 3D shape that needs to be translated into existence through your painting. If you show that knowledge, you can get hired. And it seriously can take just one painting. But I would definitely show people your portfolio. This is another big thing, is like showing people your work so that you can get some feedback on what pieces are strongest and what pieces are weakest, because as I think you've probably heard from plenty of people, the portfolio is only as good as its weakest piece. And so you want to make sure that it's like really it's showing off only your best stuff, and it really doesn't have to be a lot of images as long as they show the right stuff.
Yeah, I agree.
I think Anika, let's come up with like an assignment though. I don't know, my brain needs to do this right now. So come up with an assignment that's a volumetric thing to paint. What would be a really good like object or character or something like that?
Mushrooms. When you said mushrooms, the only thing that I thought about was a mushroom man. So
Mushroom man. I love it. Yes. So mushroom man. You could do a page full of just different mushrooms that are just mushrooms, or you could, on left page, you have a bunch of different mushrooms, and then on right page, you make a character with a bunch of mushrooms, like whatever you want. It could be based off one of them or have multiple mushrooms or something like that.
Let me get my sketchbook. Where is it?
Get it. Yeah. Drawing on the stream. I love it. Can we get a camera on it?
Oh, that might be a little hard, but maybe tomorrow. Stick around. We'll be back tomorrow. So maybe get like a duel. Yeah.
I love it. But yeah, that's it doesn't have to be some crazy epic thing where you come up with a story and you need like all the different characters lined up. Like that's a character design portfolio. I would say that would be great. But for concept design, it just needs to show that you got the skills to do the things, because they're going to tell you stuff like, I worked on Farmville for many years. And so they're going to be like, we need this cow and in this perspective, and then it needs to read as this breed. And here's the pictures of a potato plant. Now make it in our style, that kind of thing. So if you want to work on a specific game, definitely work in their style. I think that would be great.
Wait, did you say you're working with Farmville?
Yeah,
that was on Farmville.
I worked on Farmville.
I don't know that about you.
Or Farmville 2. I guess,
played Farmville.
No way! You saw my stuff.
I saw your stuff. I had no idea. This is so fun. This stream is brought to you by Anna Daviscourt. On Farmville. No, that is not
super
true.
Famous.
But the Farmville part is true. Yeah.
Yeah.
So how is what kind of work did you do? Did you paint the environments, or did you paint like the characters in it? How was the experience?
I did a lot of different things in there. Towards the end of my time doing that, I worked on some posters, so I got to actually do like the big "This is Farmville" kind of like promoting the new expansions or whatever. I honestly never played it. Which is like very common in the video game industry. They'll be like, oh yeah, I worked on this for 10 years and I never played it.
I hope they aren't listening.
It's fine if they are. It's all good. Zynga understands. But yeah, the other stuff that I worked on the bulk of the time was assets in the game. So like the animals, a lot of the animals, a lot of the plants. There would be crops that you could plant, and it would be different stages of their growth. So you could do like, oh, it's a little sprout today, and then tomorrow it'll be this sapling or whatever, and like it's bigger and bigger, and then you harvest it. Here's what you get, and then it's a dead plant. I always love painting the dead ones. It was so funny, like make it full of holes and yellow and stuff like that. And then I did a lot of trees as well. So if you ever like harvested an apple off a tree, that was probably taking one asset that I painted off of another asset.
I don't really remember it. I'm sorry.
How dare you?
But it kind of reminds me of Stardew Valley, to be fair. like
Mhm.
all the phases of like having a plant and then that growing. Also, Laura in the chat asks, what do you consider a volumetric painting?
Anything that shows 3D space of an object. So say there's a ball on a table. This is like a classic thing from art school, is like, imagine a beach ball sitting on a table and you just have to paint it and make it look like it's a round ball. Now you're painting within 2D space, so it's not something that just happens. You have to figure out how the shadows form on it and what cast shadows would happen and all of that, like how it would look. And especially if you make it a beach ball, this is a specific assignment that my teacher gave me that I remember. If you make it a beach ball that's got red and white stripes, and you do it in either color or value, which is like grayscale, you have to consider how the values are different on the white and the red. And so painting just a sphere and rendering it like that is only half the work. Then you have to make the stripes read.
Oh man.
Yeah. So just doing like that alone and making it really read like, wow, that's a ball sitting on a table. I'm not questioning that at all. I see it. I know it. That is the kind of stuff that they want to see. There's also a really great exercise. I think Will Terry actually came up with this or has a class on SVS about it. SVS is the Society of Visual Storytelling. And it was all about making cubes that render a different material. So one cube is made of wood, one cube is made of metal. Those are going to look very different. And so it goes through all sorts of things like furry cubes. And I'm sure other people have done this too. Honestly, it's probably one of those like age-old art things. But it is a really good exercise in just rendering materials. And that's a huge part of concept art, is just understanding the form. I guess one aspect of concept art. Concept art means 5 million different things. So that I'm just speaking from the perspective that I've had in it, which was for mobile video games.
Yeah, exactly where you would start, basically, knowing how those materials work and just making basic shapes and making those materials for those basic shapes and understanding how light interacts with those 3D materials is a big part of it. So
huge part, yeah.
If you know how that works on a cube, you probably know that how that works on different things as well. Also, I want to say bye to Kendall and Rin. They have to go work.
Bye. Have a great day, you guys. Thanks so much for popping by.
Oh, Kendall's not going. Oh, she's
bye,
going.
Kendall.
She's
wait,
like,
hi,
this
Kendall.
is what?
Misinformation in the chat. Hi, Kendall. Welcome back. I don't know. Maybe you have to walk Razzie. I'm not sure.
Oh no, she said it's too much fun, so she can't concentrate on work.
Yeah,
you. Hey.
I totally feel that. Sometimes I'm like, I'm gonna pop into this stream, and then I have to either completely cut myself off from chat, like, okay, I'm not interacting in chat because I will just not do anything else, or I'm all in. I'm just like, I'm in the chat talking,
chatting away,
laughing. Yeah, it's a good time.
Absolutely. Which reminds me, we're almost at the 50-minute mark. So if you're we've been chatting.
It's insane.
Time flies when you're having fun. This is very cliched, but I had to say it.
It's appropriate. I agree.
But if you're just joining us, thanks and welcome to the stream. I'm here with Anna Daviscourt, and she's painting this very fun creek scene in Adobe Fresco. So if you have any questions and have never used Adobe Fresco, please pop in your questions in the chat, because this is a very app stream. We are going through all the basics for the app and also into an insight into Anna's process.
Whoop,
so
whoop.
Make sure to pop those questions in. Whoop, whoop.
Pop, pop. Yes. And there are so many things that I could talk about with this, but I want to talk with you, Anika. I don't want to just talk at you. So like, if you have any questions, feel free.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I just turned the lines off just to see where we're at with some of the textures here and stuff. So it's really fun to see line on and line off. Sometimes I have this quandary of like, do I want the lines or do I not? I definitely add lines at some point, like back in, like especially with something where there's big leaves. I love to add little like a vein in the middle of it, and sometimes it's totally unrealistic colors. Like I love doing a light yellow or something down them, like whoop whoop. And it's our painting. We can do whatever we want, so really there are no limits. And that's the kind of energy I want to keep out throughout the whole piece.
Do you so typically when I'm making an illustration, I turn down the opacity for my sketch. Do you think that it's kind of like, I find it jarring to have like the sketch at 100% opacity? I
Mm.
typically put it on a multiply layer and turn down the opacity just to like see my colors clearer. And I noticed that you're not doing that. So what is this sorcery? How are you
What
doing
is
this?
this? I can totally like I sometimes turn down the opacity. It really depends on if it's
Mhm.
obscuring what I'm seeing too much.
Yeah.
For this one, it's so free because it's just foliage everywhere. It's just whatever we want it to be. It definitely doesn't feel like I have to understand what the sketch is trying to say or trying to paint whatever I want underneath it. It's not like a strict painting in that way. It's very free form.
Yeah.
So I find that the sketch doesn't really matter, and also it doesn't get in my way. So
Love
all
that.
of the
Yeah.
above. Yeah.
Yeah, that also makes me think that sometimes the sketch gets in the way because you kind of stick to the sketch too much and you can't
Oh
see
yeah.
apart from it.
Huge thing. Yeah, totally. I feel that all the time. Where it's like, oh yeah, I really want to paint this freely and have a fun time with it, and then I'm like, I have to get it exactly how it was. So yeah, it's a struggle.
Yeah, you can draw outside the lines.
Yeah. I feel like there is something to that where it's like, I don't know, bringing out your inner kid is the way to have the most fun with it. And so I'm always trying to find that place. Like, okay, where do I feel like I'm really having fun with the piece? And I don't know about
Yeah.
you, but there's definitely a certain point at which it really lights up my brain and it feels like, oh, I'm kind of flowing with this. And I want that at least once with every piece if I can.
Yeah, I feel that. I feel like I get that when I'm like mostly color blocked and I have some shadows in and I'm just
Mm,
about to add texture and it all starts to come together and I can really
yeah.
see the final piece and I'm like, okay, now this maybe doesn't look as bad as I thought it would.
What a nice way to talk to yourself. It's not as bad as I thought it was. But yeah, I totally feel that. It's so funny how it can come at a specific point where you're like, oh, this is too rough, this is too refined. Right in the middle here, it feels good.
Yeah.
But I think that it's changing for me every day, like what point I feel most comfortable. It's usually pretty fun at the beginning. I think like the sketch phase feels very free, but then what I like to do is give myself a break between the sketch phase and the paint phase. Just like I sketched this earlier this weekend and then now I'm coming back and painting it fresh so I can see a little bit of like what I would want to tweak and change and all that kind of stuff, which is a really big aspect of giving yourself a break. It's a good thing to do. But also it gives me this ability to feel like I'm not tied down to any of it, and it's almost like seeing somebody else's work and they're asking me to do a draw over or something where it's like, okay, this isn't mine now. I can just do whatever and it's fine, and I know that me, the person getting the critique, is not going to take it hard or anything, so like I can really say whatever I want and be like, this needs to change, oh, you need to start over. It's fine because I get it. Like I want the best piece out of this and it's not harsh or anything. So yeah, it's really fun to, I don't know, give yourself that kind of break and come back and see what you feel the second time around.
So do you think there are any artists that also impact your style when you're like, I mean, you mentioned that there's like a process that changes every single day. Do you think that your inspiration also affects that?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I have a Pinterest board that I keep up on fairly regularly just for my own inspiration. I feel like it gives me that kick of, ooh, this is what I want to create. Ooh, this is exciting. And so I go back to that time and time again. If you want to see that, it's actually not Anna Daviscourt. It's Anna Owen 18, I believe, is the the name for that one. If you want to follow it, it's really not organized in some special way, but it gives me a lot of just inspiration. Especially, there's like one folder that's called foliage rendering, so it would be very appropriate for this one to have that open and just see how other people use textures to interpret foliage and like plant life, because there are so many different ways that I love. Some of them it's like, ooh, this tree is so soft and gauzy and it's just kind of like an effect, You know how like
Mhm.
a dissolve layer makes everything kind of speckly? That kind
Mhm.
of effect on a bush is so beautiful to me. And then other
Ooh,
people are
yeah.
like, oh, it's just a bunch of dashes, or it's like very curated. Here are the leaves and they don't touch each other, but it looks like a pattern when it's done. I love all of
Yeah.
those.
Mhm.
So it's really hard to decide. And that's why I've kind of come up with this, hey, texture is king kind of style of things so that I can kind of combine all of them. That's the
Love
trick.
that.
Just take everything you love and use it all at once. Ah!
So, are there any particular artists that impact your work? Is there someone in particular that is kind of like an inspiration to you
There's so
that you
many
always go
inspirations.
to? Absolutely.
Yeah, I know. I'd say one of the most recent ones that I've found and just absolutely loved her work is Maud Behan. It's Maud and then Bihan. And I
Mhm.
actually just got some of her artwork. Let me show you. I have it in a frame sitting right here. Oh. There's like her
Ooh.
little card in the corner. But
Mhm.
yeah, she has these little slice of lives that are usually like a character with some animals and then nature or baked goods or something comforting around. And I think you see why I love it.
Oh, yeah, I do see it. I
Yeah.
was just looking at their work.
Yeah, their work is amazing. And there's so many different artists. Oh my gosh. What is his name? There's somebody, Tadahiro Ukasugi. Oh my gosh, I'm totally butchering that. I need to like look up their work to like
That's
see
fine.
who their name is. But
Yeah.
that's a constant on my Pinterest page, is just like
Mhm.
their work is very textural, yes, but also kind of minimal in the design. So the texture makes the like the design sing. Like the design itself would be pretty minimal, but then they fill it with this texture that just looks like gorgeous. I can find it. I can find it. Oh, and then Loish is a constant. I don't know if you know her work.
I
It's
do know. Yeah.
absolutely beautiful.
I love it.
Um, yeah, you can't get better. It's just oof. And then oh man, there are just so many people. Let's see. May Beeson is a children's book illustrator that I take a lot of inspiration from, especially with like evoking emotion with characters and how that I don't know how to describe it. Like she just her layouts kind of emphasize the storytelling in a really nice way by closing in on the emotion that the character is feeling. It just emphasizes it a lot. Let's see, is
Nice.
this one of his?
I think this is the one. Wait, drop it in the chat if you have the chat open.
Excellent. Okay, I found another one. Boom. Yes, you found it. Thank you, Wade. This is
Yay,
the
thanks,
specific piece
Wade.
I was thinking of. Oh no, it's just a unclickable link.
Oh, it's
But
okay.
yeah, that's the one of the pieces on my Pinterest board that I was thinking of. Sorry for the wait, but thank you so much, Wade, for finding that.
Promod in the house.
You know. See, this is the thing. I'm like, oh yeah, I could totally prepare with some links beforehand and like be nice to the mods. But then I'm like, wait, this artist needs recognition. Wait, this one too. Oh man, they're so good.
There's so many,
So many.
so much. Very good. Wow.
Obviously.
But so someone in the chat had a very good question about what are you doing with the magnifying glass when you're color picking? Can you describe that process a little?
Absolutely. Yeah, that is color picking on the active canvas. So instead of like going to the eyedropper tool and using it, what you're doing is when you have the brush on, like I'm in brush mode right now, all you have to do is
Mhm.
long press on the canvas itself with your finger, and then you can zoop around and pick whatever color you want. So if it's already
Love that.
existing on the canvas, like we've done all this work to put a ton of color into the greens. So I just want to find like, oh, the midpoint between these two colors. Boom, there you go. Long press. And then I could paint with it in my brush and never leave brush mode.
Never leave the brush mode. Yeah, it has had a lot of updates in the recent updates. So I love that. It's much faster now.
For
So
sure.
also, I don't think we mentioned it, but Adobe Fresco is a free app. It's free to use on an iPad and also on Windows device. You can use it with a graphics tablet. So make sure to download it, and maybe you can do something tomorrow when we're animating this.
Heck yes. Oh my gosh. You can either bring an illustration that you've already made or make something
Mhm.
tonight and then come back tomorrow morning and we're going to have the animation side of things. Ooh, I'm so excited. I'm also going to throw a color balance layer. We were talking about adjustment layers before, and just kind of balance this guy. So I usually just go too far to one side and then too far to another and kind of hit in between where I feel like it looks good. That's my way of doing things. Of course, everybody has their own.
I always struggle with this.
Oh, really?
Having the midtones and like, how do I even make this look good? I just like fiddle around with it for a while and then I'm like, okay, maybe this looks good. And recently I've been changing the shadows and that has really changed the whole process.
Ooh, wait, changing the shadows? So like you put a color balance layer.
Yeah, on the shadows. Which you were just doing that right now.
Yeah. They have shadows, midtones, and highlights. Okay, gotcha. I did not change the shadows for the longest time. And I'm like, why is this looking weird? Maybe I'm doing something wrong. Nope, nothing wrong. I think that it just takes like getting used to in terms of like, do you want this as part of your workflow? You know what I mean? Like it doesn't have to be a part of it, but it can help if you want it to. Absolutely. And we've got our original color like balance up here. So you can see the kind of difference between where we've ended up so far and that. And sometimes that's a really useful way to kind of rebalance, for me at least, to feel like I know where I'm going with this or if I want to go backwards, because sometimes I like the colors better before, so I can like add some of those back in or whatever. So it's a lossless way of working. Non-destructive. Wow, exactly.
What are words? So what are words? Do you think the adjustment layers in Photoshop are very similar to, for someone who's used Photoshop and doesn't know what Fresco is about, do you think the adjustment layers are very same? They behave the same way?
Absolutely. Yeah, it's pretty dang seamless, I would say. But that's, from my perspective, I don't know. I'm not like a very technical person when it comes to a lot of the program usage.
Lies.
I feel I feel like I only notice if things are different, if it's like really different, you know what I mean? But some people are like, oh, I know that this adjustment layer should do this by 90% or whatever. And I'm like, looks the same to me. I don't know.
Okay.
But from what I've experienced in Fresco, it's seamless between the two programs. And one of the great things I love about working in Fresco and Photoshop is that you can save it to, it's in the cloud when it's on Fresco, and you can open it from the cloud in Photoshop. So it's literally like I end it here and I begin it there, or vice versa. And it works really seamlessly. And that's one of the biggest things for me, is like feeling like there's no friction between working on it on one device and another. So I really appreciate it.
Yeah, I love that. To add to that, there's also vector brushes in Fresco that I also love using. And I know Sonal's chat was also there who uses vector brushes. I use them sometimes, but you can bring those into Illustrator on the iPad and also on the desktop, the same way that you can with Photoshop.
Yeah.
And then there's this export option that you can use for Illustrator as well. So yeah, you can make scalable graphics with Fresco as well. So that's pretty fun. I know Wade made like a t-shirt with like a completed illustration in Fresco, which I really love.
Absolutely.
So yeah.
Whoops.
Love that.
I am going to merge these down just so I can have that color balance layer affect the things purely, or whatever you would want to call it. And when there's a soft light layer, you want it to clip to whatever it is merging down to, because you guys can see probably when I merge this down and it's not clipped, it creates like in the negative space where there aren't pixels, it just flattens that down to an opaque layer. So you want to clip it with that little square arrow dealio, and then merge down. And then this one, if I clipped it, then it would get rid of some of that overhang that I have on the other layer. Or wait, sorry, that boom. And so I just want to merge it straight up. But that one was opaque. So now this one is, let's show just that layer. I'm going to fill the one under it with just white so you guys can see. Beep. What? Cannot fill this region. Pixel. Okay, there we go. So now you can see exactly where the bounds of this greenery layer is. And then underneath it, we've got the water layer that's reflecting the sky. It's working.
Nice.
It's working.
It's working. We're getting there.
And I'm just going to merge down that color balance layer. And then I duplicated it and put it on the water/sky reflection side of things. And I think I'm just going to put it, let's see how it looks off of the clouds. Yeah, it doesn't change the clouds that much. So I'm just going to merge it with the water, or the blue. And then we're good to go. We're good to go.
Love that. I love that how the clouds kind of make it look like the characters in the sky almost.
Oh yeah, like they're floating.
It's so surreal. Like the perspective is so fun.
Yeah, this is one that was inspired again by a Pinterest piece that they had a reflection of water. Or sorry, there was water reflecting the sky, and I was like, let's bump that up to 10 and like make it the whole piece, because that I've seen a lot of that in our creek lately. Honestly, the place where I live, I was talking about at the beginning of the stream, there's a lot of creeks and ponds in our area, and if you hit it at the right angle, it just looks like pure blue, like a line of pure blue is going through all these plants, and it's so pretty. So that was kind of the nice. Bridging of the two. So there was online inspiration and real life inspiration. All comes together.
Yeah, and then you made it into an MC Escher foliage piece.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Folding foliage. That's going to be my book.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah. I'm going to throw a multiply layer over this and just real low opacity. I'm going to paint in a little bit of like a blue or green. I think that'll be nice. Just kind of want to play around with that and making the foliage a little bit darker, because when I zoom out, it's got a separation of the green and the blue, but I want a little bit darker on the edges. I'm gonna go with the graphite brush real big.
Ooh, that is fun.
Yeah, just a little bit darker, a little bit cooler.
Yeah. Do you use animation, other softwares for animation as well, such as After Effects? And do you like it?
I have never, I've used After Effects like once or twice, but I really have not animated in it. I think that I don't really animate. That's the thing, is like, it's not something where I feel like I do it often enough to use a real program for it. That sounds bad, but like, you know how After Effects and Flash and Animator, like those kind of programs are dedicated animation for a lot of the time. Like you can use it for other things, but it'd be great to animate in. And I just want to animate little bits. Like I don't want to animate a full on like, oh, a character is turning and having an expression and it's matching words and things like that. Like that is too much for my brain. Okay. This thing's chugging at full capacity and it can't handle more. So I want to just animate little bits. Now that's what I want to use Fresco for, is just doing like little moving bits, but you can really use it for hardcore animation if you wanted to, because it has that ability of like just frame by frame. And then there's also paths. We're going to get into it tomorrow. It's very exciting because like it has so much power. It's kind of amazing. And so, yeah, when I animate with it right now, at least I'm trying to kind of limit the amount of things I'm going to animate and how intense they are. I have gotten into a bit of like effects, so like fire and water, those kind of things. And we're gonna make this water move tomorrow. I'm very excited for it. I love making water look like it moves. A huge inspiration for that is Ghibli movies. If you've ever seen like,
ooh, yeah,
My Neighbor Totoro, there's this wonderful scene where one of the girls goes down to the creek and takes up a bucket of water. And I've just looked at that GIF 5 million times and been like, oh, it's so pretty. So we're gonna take inspo from that for tomorrow's animation for sure.
Love that. Also, Anthony Jackson had a question about the river. Did you use the watercolor live brushes for those?
For what?
I forget. For the river.
Yes, for the clouds. I did the clouds with watercolor brushes for sure. You can see that kind of juicy effect. And look at how it's like juicy. Some edges are kind of harder and then the others bleed out more. Oh, I love it. It's so irregular and ambiguous.
Oh, so good.
Okay, so there's our multiply layer. I might lighten it up just a tad bit. What do you think? Before, after? Do you like it darker or lighter?
I like how vibrant it is when it's lighter. Okay. But I also like the contrast it adds when it's darker.
Well, then we could just do bits and pieces. Maybe it's darker along the edge of the water, so it just emphasizes that.
Yes.
There's always a win. We can do this.
Always a win.
Yeah. Oh yeah, and there's also if you notice this little circle down here, this is a a touch key basically. So for my left hand, I'm poking this. And at the beginning, when it's just on its own, it is an eraser for your brush. It's just like using the tilde key in Photoshop. That's our secret button. Where if you're using a brush and you want it to be the eraser, you just press this button or the tilde key in Photoshop and it becomes your eraser. So you can just erase out with that same brush. And then if you double click it, then it stays in brush mode. And then if you click it again, it stays in eraser mode without pressing down on it. And then you just like, I think it's, yeah, double click it again. And then it goes back to, if you hold your finger down, then it erases. Well, hot tip. This is the best. I love this thing so much. I wish every program had this kind of key.
Yeah. The touch modifier brought to you by Adobe Fresco.
Hey. I always feel like such an ad when I talk about Fresco because I just like gush.
Same.
Like, oh, it's so good. I love it. All right, so here's a little bit of darkness around the edge.
Ooh, yeah, think? I love that.
Yeah.
I love that.
Good. Okay. Let's work on our character just a little tad bit so that we have some idea of where she's going. And I might not finish the entire painting on stream, but I'll come back tomorrow with it more finished at least. And then we are going to animate tomorrow, little bits of it. So look forward to that, including a shadow crossing above. What's she seeing?
I forgot about that. Now
yeah.
It's back.
It's happening. Oop. We'll just leave it. All right. So
also, I don't know if we talked about this. Did you come up with the color palette just by thinking about what you saw and observed at the creek nearby? Or how did you come up with the color palette?
Yeah, I think it's a lot of observance. Observance got me to the point where I was like, green is not just green. If you look outside, it seems like there's a lot of green, but there's so many colors within it. There's more than I have here for sure. There's just like immense color out in the world. And so that brought me to like that period as like seeing stuff outside and then looking at other people's artwork and seeing a field that's all just golden grass. That kind of stuff makes me feel like, ooh, I need golden grass. I need orange. I need red. I need all these different colors in here. So it's really a mixture, how I come up with the color palette. And this one is really, like I said before, I love doing pieces that are 90% comfortable, 10% something new. And so for this one, I'd say the perspective and the design of the composition is like the newer part of it. And then the comfort zone is definitely foliage. Like all of this is stuff that I've painted before and I love painting. There's a piece on my website that's the Secret Garden. It's based off of that story where there's a girl in front of
Mary Blair.
Yeah, exactly. It's like very, very flat, kind of inspired by Mary Blair. And it was one of those pieces that really clicked with me where I was like, oh, I love painting plants. And that was actually at the beginning of the Adobe Creative Residency. And I was looking at a ton of new inspiration all over the place and just feeling a lot of, I don't know, like new motivation to become a new artist, new styles, new everything. And so, just change everything. You know, that feeling where you're just like, I hate everything in my closet. I'm going to get a new wardrobe. And then I just did because I had nothing holding me back. Once I was in the residency, it felt like the sky's the limit. Let's go for what I actually really want to do right now. And so I, looked at a ton of inspiration, found ways that I really loved to paint plants and found that I loved painting plants, which was kind of huge to figure out about yourself. Like, oh, this is a subject matter that I could just live in. Like, I love this so much. There are very few things that make me feel that way. Like, not very few. I am inspired by a ton of stuff, but I'm just saying, like, things get old after a while. Things. Yeah, and like I've had different subjects that are my favorites to draw back in the past, and I don't feel as strongly about them anymore. And I feel like plant life and nature will never get old because there's just so much there. There's so many opportunities to make it new and make it fresh for yourself. And nature is just the best artist, you know, she designs everything so well. So that's kind of what brought me to this way of thinking of color palettes. That was the original the original question, right? It was like, oh yeah, color palette. I
love that.
But usually for color palettes, what I do is make swatches, and then I'll do a color balance adjustment layer on them and kind of zhuzh it till it feels right. A lot of it is feeling it out, which I hate that answer because it doesn't give you something firm to grasp onto as a listener. However, it is very true. A lot of the time it comes down to your eye as an artist. And when you feel it, it's really you honing what you love through like a lot of the stuff we've been talking about, seeing other artists, seeing inspiration in the world, and figuring out what you love to create from that.
Absolutely. Yeah. I also love painting foliage. I think flowers are a very huge inspiration in my work, and all the colors that there are, because there's like a ton of colors in all flowers. It's amazing.
Absolutely. Flowers are just, oh my gosh, it's spring right now.
Yeah.
They feel like the essence of life because I see stuff like crocuses popping up and daffodils and just bundles and tulips. And it's just, so juicy. And it feels like you're alive again when you see them. I don't know if it's just because it lines up when the sun's out. I'm in Oregon, which is very rainy and gray a lot of the time. So the days when the sun is out, it feels like suddenly you're a whole different level of existence. You're like, I'm living. It's great. I don't know if you feel the same way in your area, but it's just one of those, like, I don't know. It's magical in spring.
It's super sunny where I am. It's about 100 degrees already here. So
oh my gosh. Well, I'm sorry.
It's all good. It's all good. Bruce in the chat wants to know if you've ever painted along with Maddie Belvoir.
Maddie.
She's also an amazing artist, and she also streams on Behance. She's actually live on Adobe Live UK earlier today.
Oh, really? No way. I didn't even know there was an Adobe Live UK. Oh my gosh.
Oh my God. What?
Get in this. Yeah, seriously.
I think that's like 5 a.m. your time. That's probably why.
Oh, gotcha. See, I can catch the APAC streams, but I haven't gotten the UK. Darn it.
Yeah. She also loves painting foliage.
Oh yeah, I love Maddie's work. I haven't painted along with what she's doing before, but I think usually that's because I'm very busy, not because I don't want to, like I would do all of the prompts if I had the time for everything. But honestly, when I'm not streaming and I'm not like doing something like this, like Adobe Live, then I'm usually working on whatever book I have currently. I'm right now in the last stages of the book that I've been working on for the last, like, I don't know, 7 months. So it's just in revision. So I'm like, canoodling. We looked that up on the stream I had the other day. We were like, what's that word? Because I said futz, which was, it's a word it means like idly messing with something, basically. And that's a more appropriate word, because the chat was like, oh, what about canoodling? That means the same thing. And it was something like amorous making out. And I was like, oh no, that's not what I meant. Just canoodle with the piece. But yeah, the futzing that I am doing with the book right now is it's time consuming and kind of like, I don't know, it's not necessarily my favorite part of the process, but it is so close to done that I know my brain is going to go senioritis mode and just be like, I don't want to do this. So I have to force myself to be like, no, you're going to see this through. You've been working so hard on this for so long and strong. Like, do the thing.
Pep talk.
Yeah. Got to give yourself a pep talk all the time.
Do you think editing those pieces that you created is also like a big task? I know editing someone else's piece is always an ask, but like doing it of your own pieces, does that always come with challenges?
Oh my gosh, yeah. I think giving yourself big breaks is the big trick that I have for that, is because if I were to do it every single day back to back, the same piece, I would probably stagnate the heck out of it and just be like, I don't know anymore. Like, what can I do to make it better? I need other people's input and all that stuff. Like, other people's input is always great to have, not dissing on that or anything. But if I need to get something done quickly, I usually just have myself to rely on. And so even if I only have 12 hours or something like that, like, or say we have 2 days to make sure that a piece is the best it can be, I think it's more useful to take one of those days off between working on it than working for 2 days straight trying to make it the best. I think that time in between to give yourself the break is exactly what will make the piece better, because when you come back to it with fresh eyes, you see stuff you never would have seen, and you also feel like you have more motivation to come back and finish strong. So
Absolutely.
I'm really glad with books that you have so many pages, because I can hop from one page to another and give myself a break, between them.
Yeah, that's a very nice approach, and also helps with like an art blog. I know you had like a video for that, didn't you? Like an art blog podcast situation.
I did. Yeah, it was on SVS, the Society for Visual Storytelling. They asked me to do a video just talking through, what do you do for art block, and how can you, try to give people some help with that. And it was a really good learning experience, honestly, because it's not every day that you sit down and think, what do I do when I get into that place? And now I have literally a written list that I can go through and be like, oh yeah, when I'm feeling like I'm not as into it, this is what I should do. And there's a very different thing between like art block that is hardcore and you cannot create and you don't want to create, versus like, I just don't feel that into it today. There's like a spectrum that you can be on. And if you can catch yourself at the point where you're like, I just don't feel it, and give yourself a break from it, it will hopefully save you from the hardcore art block of like, no, can't do.
Also, I did not even notice it, but the character is already coming to life. I did not even look at the colors that you put down, and I've just been chatting.
That's the way to do it. Just give yourself a break from looking at this, Anika, and then come back and you'll see a whole new painting.
Magic.
It happens when you're not looking. Yeah, that's at least my way of kind of dealing with going through a tedious project. Do you have anything like that? Have you been on a project that lasts a little bit too long for you?
Yeah, it does happen, but with the kind of work that I do, it only happens with like logo design sometimes, when there are changes that the client wants. But then there's always, with experience with working with clients, you always know what's better for the brand. And finding ways to strategically convey that feeling and convey the strategy to the client is always the way to go, because it's not necessary that it aligns with the client's needs and the target audience. So when that happens, it's essentially necessary to like come back to what your sketches were and like find out why you made the design and why you made the choices that you made. So yeah, it does happen sometimes, but obviously taking a break and like looking away from the screen really does help me.
Definitely. And getting that perspective. I love that you can rely on what you've already created to kind of show you like, no, this makes sense. Like you had something going here.
Yeah. Absolutely. Alessandra loves the plants behind you, Anna. Hey.
Oh, the actual in-life plants. It's so funny. I was noticing on one of the streams I was watching recently, both of the guest and the host had a snake plant in the background. And when Ryan hosted me on Offset Week, we also both had snake plants in the background. And I was like, is this a stream thing? Do all streamers have snake plants? What's going on?
No. I have an Elisa palm tree in the back. That's
Elisa. Ooh. Elisa, that's beautiful. Palm. Yes. Oh my gosh. Paco, zoom out. We need to see the plant. No. But that's so cool. Oh, we can never keep a palm alive here, I don't think. It's too not their not their
it's
habitat.
Really hard. Ugh. Yep. I'm bad with keeping plants alive. So yeah.
Oh my gosh.
But it's alive. It's alive here. Hey, no,
great
it's
job.
Not died yet.
It looks very happy. So great job. I have somewhat success and somewhat hurt on the plant side, where it's like I lose some, I keep some. But recently I just moved my entire setup. It used to be that you would be able to like see my couch behind my desk. And so I switched the desk to seeing this window, and now all my plants are behind me and I feel like I'm in a little forest and I love it.
Ooh.
By the way, I'm adding a little bit of a shadow. This is a clipping mask on the water layer, and I'm just adding a multiply and doing like a little blue-green. I also want kind of a dip in the level over here, as if the water is going over rocks and flowing down. It's a little difficult to convey because it's this top-down kind of aerial view, but hopefully this does enough of the work to kind of make it understandable. And then tomorrow, again, we're going to be animating a lot of these features in Fresco. So we're going to see this water move, and we'll have like a little highlight along that edge where it flows down. It's going to be so fun.
Fun.
Yes.
Yako in the chat. I am so sorry if I'm pronouncing that wrong. Always a stream thing.
I always said Jaco, but it's true. It could be Yako.
Jaco.
So tell us how to pronounce your name.
Let us
You were
know.
such a good friend. Thank you for being here.
They ask, can the story of today's illustration be shared? And also another follow-up question, what made you choose the color for the bridge?
Oh, the color for the bridge. That's funny. I think that the story for this one is the kid went outside and saw something magical. It's definitely not like a figured out, oh, this is the backstory kind of thing, but I do love the idea of having story whenever you can. So if you want to make up a story, if you want to give this character a name and a background, I would be down for that for sure. And what was the other question? Sorry.
Why? Oh, yeah. Why did he choose the color for the bridge?
The bridge is kind of the last part that we haven't really worked on, so that's why. No, it was just kind of an ambiguous, darker wood, but it's looking kind of purple against the grass now because of all the colors that we pumped into everything. And that's part of the process too, is just kind of figuring out colors next to each other, because everything color-wise works in conjunction with other colors. It's not just, oh, it's blue. It's like if it's next to an orange, it looks more blue. If it's next to a purple, Absolutely. It looks less or whatever. So
Theory of relativity.
Exactly. Yes. Anika knows what it's all about. So I can throw either hue saturation or color balance on here. Let's go hue sat because that's much more direct, like control of color. And we only have, I believe, one color on this layer. So it's very easy to control. Ooh, Whoa. Let's go blue.
That escalated quickly.
And I wanted it to kind of fade out where there's wood, but then I want it to be dirt. No, I want it to be dirt on the edges, as if there is a worn path that people walk on, because that's one of my favorite things with green areas, is seeing like the impact that people and creatures have on the area, and how you can kind of see that a deer was laying here last night because all the grass is like pressed down or whatever, and then like the paths that people create, I always call out when I see a man-made path. I think there's a name for them when it's like there's a path that's been paved, through a park or whatever, and then people, it's a winding path, and then people just walk straight across, and they're just like, nope, I want the fastest way. And I always call out when I see those, because it's so funny to see how humans, I don't know, just kind of negate what other humans have made. Like, here, we made something for you to walk on. It's even, it's easy. They're like, nope, I go through here. It's so funny. Anyways, so there's more of the color that I think I like here. And I might change the color of the overalls now, because they're very similar to this kind of tone of the bridge. So it's easier if I know the material that the bridge is, like, oh, this is going to be wood. Clothing can be any color. So it's much easier to change that than wood, even though wood can be a whole heck of a lot of colors too.
Absolutely. Yeah. Mariano in the chat says they like how the reflection of the sky and the color around the bridge puts them in the scene. Makes them imagine a beautiful day. Hey, that's what we're going for. Mission accomplished.
It's a good day. Absolutely. I'm very glad to hear that. It's so nice whenever I'm live. Like, this is why I stream. It's so nice to hear what people gather from a piece, because I could be painting something and totally forget, like, oh, this is, how I want it to feel, or how I imagined it or whatever. And then somebody comes in and their interpretation just, I don't know, it sparks something new. It feels like a moving piece suddenly, rather than me just painting alone. I don't know, I love it. What about you with streaming? Do you feel like there's an advantage to it?
Absolutely. I love streaming. Before I got into it, I was always afraid of like putting myself out there, but streaming has really enabled me, in a good way though. Of putting myself out there and holding myself accountable. It's also why I love challenges, because I get to create a goal and like stick with it. And with streaming as well, I feel like I use that to learn new techniques and like engage with the community, which is always great. Love the community on Behance. Which reminds me, Ryan's in the chat. Hey Ryan, what's up?
Ryan, what are you doing here? You're not allowed. Oh yeah, we haven't done monkey paws yet.
Yeah, we haven't done monkey paws yet. We've just been too busy chatting. I'm sorry.
Or Gavin, Ryan. You know how to do monkey paws. You can do it on your own.
Absolutely.
He's a monkey paws pro now.
I've been doing monkey paws though since Ryan's offset streams.
Really?
And they really help. Yeah.
So glad. Yes. Monkey paws is a stretch, by the way, if you don't know. We usually do it on my streams, and I would highly recommend taking care of your hands because we do so much with them. But that makes me so happy. Oh my gosh. I'm glad, because seriously, imagine if it prevented some kind of injury. Oh, I hate the idea of any creative getting injured by what they love doing. So I'm just like, please do your stretches. Take care of yourselves.
Yeah. Ryan says this piece is confusing perspective, but in a fun, cool way. Yeah, we were talking about that. Like this is folding foliage, like an MC Escher foliage piece. You know?
It's folding.
Anna Daviscourt.
Yeah.
Anna Daviscourt folding foliage, brought to you by Anna Daviscourt. I'm sorry, I'm doing this a lot today.
No, I love it. This infomercial is amazing. Can I have you on my website?
Done and done.
Yeah, that's right. It's gonna be a collab after this. But yeah, this is gonna be a little bit more clear, I think, tomorrow. Clear like water. Because we'll have some of that water motion happening, so it'll feel a little bit more like a creek. But yeah, right now it's so fun. I just love that weird, like, oh, what way is up kind of feeling. Beep.
I love it.
Yeah. And I want some of this to be kind of mossy, so I'm just gonna do like, I don't know, little marks. What was I gonna do next?
Are the oranges like flowers in the foliage?
Yeah. They're gonna be like little poppies or something.
Ooh.
Or tulips or whatever we want. I actually, in the middle of this greenway that we have near our place, there's this little bundle of daffodils just right in the middle. And I wonder if somebody just went out there and like planted a bunch of bulbs. Maybe, perhaps.
It's possible.
I think I'm gonna keep the lines for the character for now, but I want to color them so that they're not just black. I was thinking like a dark red is usually my go-to for this, but we can always paint it in and see what we feel. That's so cute.
I love that. I also do the same trick, and I thought I was just stupid doing that, but seeing you do it, I feel validated.
Okay, you can never be stupid, by the way, but also, yeah, it's a really good trick, I would say. I might add some of the lines to the bridge. I do like a wobbly line, like honestly, I'm not gonna lie, but sometimes it wobbles too much.
Oh, you can turn up the smoothing on for that.
Absolutely.
I think it does help.
I can. It's just one of those things that like I want some wobble, and sometimes the smoothing takes it away, so it's like I just have to redo it a little bit. But it's a fun thing sometimes to add some wobble intentionally, and I usually like hold the pen back here and do it, and that creates much more wobble than like if I'm, you know, choking it up at the top of it. If you really need the control.
That is much more control. Yeah, that's how I usually draw it. Do you have wait, are you wearing a glove for it?
No, this is actually the sweater Anthony got me. Has like a little hole for the thumb.
Nice.
But I do have a glove somewhere that does it's like just the last two fingers, the little pinky and the other one, and it keeps it so that the iPad screen doesn't kind of register your hand accidentally. And especially with the Cintiq that I use for usually when I'm drawing in Photoshop, I'm using my Cintiq. And it can get really hot, and then my palm gets very sweaty and starts like, you know, like sticking to it. So that's also when the glove comes in super clutch. So I would highly recommend
Ryan, speaking of, wants you to add a frog on a lily pad fishing. Is this going to be an MC Escher kind of series? There's a lot of questions in the chat.
MC Escher series. I have no ideas other than this one. So if you have an idea and you want it, let me know. But yeah, anything could be a series, I guess, if you have enough ideas. All right, here's the lily pad. Ryan gets what he wants. Lily pad.
Do we get a frog as well?
Oh, yeah, yes. Obviously.
Ooh, love that. Frogs are so unpredictable.
Oh, exactly. Yes. Excellent frog unpredictability. The question is the frog going to be roasting a marshmallow on top of the lily pad? We'll see.
Yes.
Obviously.
Obviously.
Oh my gosh. So much work for me, Anika. Why? I'm going to do the frog on another level.
Yes.
On another
This
layer,
is definitely.
because I don't trust myself to design it perfectly the first time. We're gonna make it a nice rotund frog. What?
Wait, your frogs are so good. I saw you painted a Patreon frog sticker. Wasn't it a frog? It was.
Yeah, it was a frog roasting a marshmallow on a lily pad.
Oh my gosh.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
Is that what it was?
Yeah, it was a special offer for my Patreon. I wanted to give everybody stickers because we passed 30 patrons. Whoop, whoop, whoop. So to celebrate that, I gave everybody stickers, and I think I have them. No, they're somewhere else. I don't know. But they're really, really cute. And it's that was another one that I painted in fresco, and it turned out really cute. I love it. And one of my favorite things about that one in particular, I think, was how the pencil brush worked out. And the pencil brush, I have to just shout out, I can't believe I haven't yet, is like one of my favorite brushes in fresco. It's really nice to use for a lot of different reasons, but one of my favorite ones is if it's your pencil is perpendicular to the screen, it gets this nice line, and it's got like a grit to it, but it's sharp. And then if you put your pen parallel to the screen and get like some of the edge on there, then it gets this nice soft graphite look. Oh, nice. I love it.
Good. I have a love-hate relationship with that feature, to be honest.
Really? Why? Tell me about it.
It's just that when you open the pencil, like you hold the pencil like this, and you're like just tilting it just a little, it creates that kind of graphite look that I really don't want. And like,
you don't
can I go back? Yeah.
It's true. Like sometimes it does it unintentionally, but I guess you just have to embrace, Anika, this is your journey. You have to embrace the unknown.
Embracing it.
Sometimes things happen. It's okay.
Love it.
Ryan, is this the frog you had in mind?
And Ryan's like, verified patron here.
Yeah, Ryan's getting that sticker in the mail.
Nice.
Silly. There. Boom.
So do you have like international shipping on the stickers yet, or is it just for the US?
I do international if it's a flat mailer, which the stickers can fit into. I used to do like sculptures and things for my patrons, and it just costs so much for shipping at a certain point. I'm like, oh my gosh, I can't. And then it would be like, oh, I can't do international, which I would feel bad about because I want all my international friends to get stuff too. So right now if I have a flat thing, then I can ship it internationally. Beep, pop.
Nice.
It does take forever though, so that's
it takes months. I know that feeling.
It's unfortunate, but it's okay.
It is what it is. It's okay. At least you get it.
Exactly. I know. That's what I was telling my friend Joe, who lives in Australia. I was like, oh yeah, it'll be forever before you get it, and they were just like, I'm fine with waiting. It's cool. And I'm like, thank you for being so forgiving. All right, there you go, frog. All right, and I kind of want to do more. Where's my line layer? There we go. More lines of different colors and stuff amongst here, so we can try. It's all going to show up as dark red at first, but we could do like just like implied whatever, and then go into this clipping mask up above. You can see this like reddish layer turned from that black to red, and I can go in there and just paint it whatever color I want on here. Well, that's just disappearing, and then it's just this like non-destructive way of getting whatever lines you want to be whatever color you want, and then it's all on this layer above it, so you can literally paint with whatever color. I could go in here with black and paint all of these lines and then change all the lines to whimsical colors.
Whimsical. I love that.
Whimsy.
We have about 15 minutes left, I want to say. We have about 15 minutes left in the stream, so if you're just joining us, say hi in the chat, and if you have any last minute questions that Anna can answer for you, make sure to drop them in the chat. We are over on be.net/Adobe Live. This is where the chat's at.
It's where the chat's at. And thank you so much for having me. It's been a while since I was on Adobe Live, and it's well, I guess I was with Ryan not too long ago, but you know, on the non-Ryan Adobe Live. By the way, if you missed Offset Week, was that 2 weeks ago? No,
it was 2 weeks ago. Yeah.
Yes, then go watch those streams and give Ryan just like the biggest round of applause and tell everybody that he deserves a show, because he did so much work on that. And yeah, anyways, with this Adobe Live, it was wonderful to be invited back and to just show off some fun fresco stuff. I'm very excited about tomorrow.
Yeah, me too. I also love fresco, and I was really excited to know that you were my guest, and I was like, oh yeah, Anna, I love her work.
Same. I was like, this is perfect. This is great. Oh, me and Anika all the time. So we need to do streams on our Behance pages together. I need to do more collabs in general. I feel like I never have time, but I need to make time because well, Wade and I have been talking about doing a gouache stream for like ever. And then I mean, obviously Ryan made it happen with Offset Week, but we should do stuff not Offset as well. And yeah, just like collaborate between the Behance streamers, because there are so many great streamers on this platform, and I feel like we should all just, I don't know, crossbreed the streams.
Absolutely. Yeah, we had a request about zooming in on the frog earlier.
Zoom. Do you like the frog? Do you like him?
That's a fun frog.
Need to move his mouth up. He's a little, I don't know. There's a certain look I like for my frogs. I'm very particular, okay,
about my frogs. Look about the frogs.
You have to have a certain style. You're gonna have like a little higher up mouth. Thin it out a little bit.
I would love to see the gouache Wade and Anna gouache stream. Wanna gouache. Wanna gouache. Oh my god, that's gonna be the stream title. Wanna gouache?
Wanna gouache? I love it. This is perfect. Okay, yes, we're doing it. And yeah, that's one of those things that like I need to just make it happen, because it's like I want to do it and he wants to do it and we just need to make it happen. It's frustrating when those things don't happen, because like there's so many things in life that you do and you don't want to do it, and I'm like, I need to cut those out and just make time for the things I do want to do. You know.
Yeah. Love that. So you're gonna animate the frog as well tomorrow? Is that part of the plan? Is the frog gonna hop into the water?
This is what you did, Ryan. This is what you did. Oh no. Maybe what we could do.
There's gonna be water splashes like outside, and then there's like something else coming out of the water.
This is exactly what happens every single time there's the power of animation in a stream. People are like, oh, and then they could turn around and wink, and then they jump under the water and the ripples go out, and then you could see them under the water still.
Yes.
And it's like, I can only do like this much animating. I'm not very good at it. But what we can do with the frog, I think maybe this could read, is make it go, you know, like have the big pocket come out and go back in. Yeah. And then of course we can have water ripples around the things and dealios.
Ooh, and since we can't make the frog jump into the water because that'll be a big ask for the 2 hours that we have, I realize that, but you can make the lily pads like rotate on its axis, so it kind of makes it look like it's kind of moving but not really, but like the illusion, but kind of. Yes, no,
we could rotate it, and then the frog. Are you asking me to animate a rotating frog?
Yeah, this is a 2D illustration. Can you give me a different angle for the illustration, please? No,
just press the button and rotate it. Oh my gosh. No, what we do is we seamlessly rotate the lily pads, and then the frog just flips from one side to the other, and it's just like it'll be perfect. Trust me, it'll read so well. Oh man, I know that tomorrow is going to be full of stuff like that. People are going to be like, oh, just make it do this, just make it do that. And I'm here for it. You guys have such an imagination and I love it, but we'll do the stuff that I know I can do first, so that you guys don't just look at me struggle for 2 hours. Sound good?
Oh, You cut yourself short. Your work is amazing. And I don't know if you guys have seen it, but I know you during Halloween, I think you did like an animated overlay that you did in Fresco. That was also really fun.
Yeah, was that the you're talking about the little ghost or something? I can't remember. Yeah. So funny. Yeah, I love making little animated screens for the streams just in between. At the end of every stream, I have a little fox walking and it says thanks for watching or see you next time, something like that. And that was so much fun to make. It was very simple and like 4 frames. So that's the kind of stuff where I'm like, I can do that. If it's 4 frames, I can do it. But yeah, it's just the promise of like, oh, we're going to be animating something. Anthony's the same way. He is always like, oh yeah, and then you can make it like do this. And I'm like, how about you try it?
I can, but will I? Is the question.
If I spent 17 hours, maybe I could make some of those things happen. But man,
absolutely.
Animation is such a specialty. Like it is crazy the skills that people have when they're actually animators or motion graphic designers or any of things, like anybody who makes stuff move, just utter respect to them. It's amazing.
Absolutely. Yeah. Ryan in the chat says some would call it a foxtrot. Where are the tomatoes from Ryan's streams?
Oh, Ryan, how's Roscoe doing? That's their new kitten. Baby.
Ryan has a new kitten.
So exciting. Do you have any pets, Anika?
I used to have a pet, not anymore. I think I might soon though.
Ooh.
I might adopt a cat. I'm thinking. I'm tempted.
Please do. Please, for the sake of all of us, so that we can live vicariously through you. Yes.
Done.
Vote in the chat. Does Anika get a cat? Oh my gosh.
Or a dog.
It rhymed. What kind of dog would you go for? What kind of cat would you go for?
I'm not really sure. With cats, I think I need to do a bunch of research because I don't have any experience with cats. So like, I don't know how I'm going to do with them. And also I don't know if I can clean the hair shedding. So yeah.
Just get a hairless cat, right?
Yeah, kind of.
Oh man, I'm sure you could, make it work and figure it all out and everything. It's just if you're gonna love the animal and put the time in, of course.
Yes. Oh yes, that's definitely important. And if you have any pets and you're in Anna's Discord, you can put it in the pet channel.
Yes, animal channel. Absolutely. Thanks for the shout out. Yeah, that's where we share all of our pet pictures. And I don't personally have any pets, not through not wanting them, but just having no room in my tiny apartment. So please share with me your pets so I can get that like dopamine. I need pets in my life, even if they're not mine.
Absolutely. And someone in the chat asked what software we're using. So Anna is using Adobe Fresco.
Yeah,
on the iPad.
Fresco. Yeah. And there's a frog. So it's important.
Frog's important.
Obviously. And again, I'm going to be working on this tonight and then coming back tomorrow and we'll see the finished piece and then we are going to animate on top of it. So feel free to bring your own illustrations or to work on one tonight. And then when we come back, we'll talk about how to make it come alive with little animated elements.
Absolutely. Yeah, we have a little over 5 minutes left. Not exactly, just about 5 minutes left. So if you have any last minute questions for Anna before we end the stream for today, please pop them in the chat. But we will be back tomorrow again with Anna here only.
And Anika, we're going to ask you all the questions like, what's 2 + 2? Go.
5.
You're so smart. Please don't ask me to do math. I think that would be really nice of
Where's my calculator? Let me get that.
I was just showing my niece. We have this little elephant that's solar powered, and it like goes tick 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 on the windowsill, and she was just in love with it instantly. She's like, "It's blue," and that's her favorite color right now. And so I was telling her, yeah, calculators used to be solar powered like this, and she's like, "What's a calculator?" Because like nobody uses them anymore. It's a phone thing now. And my mom was like, I still use those. So this is
like, if you go ahead.
No, you.
No, Rand is saying if you bring an illustration, you must include frog.
Got to have frog. I think I'll make frog better tonight. I think he's too high contrast right now. He's pulling focus from our main character, so we're gonna have to tone him down, Ryan. But he will survive. He will survive.
He will survive.
As long as he knows how to live, I know he'll be alive. Also, I think I want to add some rocks just to like break it up a little bit. So I'm just gonna zhuzh in some like make them darker. Just some like, you know, not too complicated kind of textural rocks as we've been doing with a lot of this. It's going to be texture heavy.
Absolutely.
And I'm just throwing this in with the rake grit brush, which is, again, my favorite brush for really quickly just popping stuff in here and not having it take like a million years to build up anything. It's fully opaque and fully textured on that edge.
Love that. All right. I think we're about at the end of it. So if you could maybe do like a quick recap of what we did today and what we're going to do tomorrow, that would be great.
Absolutely. Yeah. So today we painted this piece in fresco. We started with a sketch and then we filled it in with a ton of foliage, and we have this implied shadow over top that we are going to animate tomorrow. We're going to have certain different elements that move in this that really bring the illustration to life. So again, if you want to bring your own illustration, then we can pop it open in fresco and start animating. Make sure that your fresco is updated so that you have the animation tools. And yeah, we're going to keep moving tomorrow.
We're going to make it move. Yeah, I love that you already had like a sketch ready, because it sometimes takes time to like concept it out. Yeah. But this looks amazing and I'm really excited for you to make it move tomorrow. And we're gonna maybe take your input chat tomorrow for like little elements that we can make move. But I want to say thank you to everyone who joined us today. Thanks a lot, Wade, for modding the stream and dropping all the links. Make sure to follow Anna on Behance and YouTube, and maybe be a patron. Maybe you'll get a frog sticker. I don't know. Kinda. Yes, please. Yes. Okay. But thank you so much for joining us, Anna, today. And we will be back tomorrow, the same time, 9:30 a.m. Pacific, for part 2 of how to animate your illustrations in Adobe Fresco with Anna Daviscourt. Stick around for this week's Illustrator Creator Challenges with one and only Jack Watson, who is also in the chat. But hey, Jack. Hey, Jack. There's also Jasmine Johnson, aka Jazz the Artist, who is also in the chat, who will be doing some 3D work later on today. So make sure to stick around for the program. There's also Cody Bear at the end of the day. End your day with Cody Bear with ducks in a puddle. That'll be amazing. And yeah, have fun. Stick around for everything, but bye for now.
See you later.